Hey everybody, welcome to Rush Hour with myself, Chris Rosa, Giants Carb Crush, and I'm here with the truth. No one else, nobody else but the truth here tonight with me. So it's
Nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth tonight. So hey, welcome aboard everybody. I know everybody's going to be jumping on in, so we really appreciate you stopping by. Darius, as always, thank you again. Hey Mike, before we start, I know last night we were talking before the show. Tell everybody, what exactly happened. I know we had a little mishap there at the end of the show last night, or it wasn't even the end of the show.
Yeah, right. Spartan had to go. He had prior commitments, so he was saying goodbye, and I'm sitting there, and then I suddenly noticed that Craig got kicked out too, and I'm sitting there, and I'm not, I'm not the kind of guy who can host. I'm like the second guy. So I'm sitting here, I'm saying, what the hell am I going to do? So I start talking to everybody on the feeder, and I'm going over the upcoming game against the Saints and what everybody thinks and keys to the game for like 2 or 3 minutes. And then I look up, I see that it ended. So I was talking to nobody, and I waited for Craig to come back on, and nothing. He couldn't do it. Apparently, when Spartan got off, he like just disconnect everyone. So, it was kind of funny. I'm sitting there talking, and there's nobody on
Yep.
the other end. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. No, I kind of knew that happened because I know, Spartan's a moderator, so he has access. So when he got everybody on, he didn't realize. But yeah. But
Yeah,
so
I
that
didn't know
that
he. I
was
didn't know he got us on until Craig did.
yeah. I'm not. But I think because he's a moderator, once he goes in, he can end it because he's a moderator. And yeah, I guess that's what happened. But yeah, usually Craig likes to give his goodbyes and go through the whole thing. And that was just it was like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
old the stage thing back in the 1800s where they pull the cane, the person
yeah.
get pulled off stage. It was like somebody yanked Craig right off the stage with one of the umbrellas or the canes. But hey Joel, thanks for stopping in, man. One of our regulars, and
No, Jay,
Jay.
Darius.
Yeah, yeah, Spartan nuked the show, man. That's awesome. Yeah, he did. He did. He definitely nuked it. But you'll see those guys back next week. All right, Mike. Let's get to it. I know you had the show last night, and I watched it, so we all know what happened with the Packers. If you want to
Yep.
touch upon anything from the Packer game, for anybody that wasn't listening last night, anything you want to add before we move on to the Saints?
No, I just like if no one else, if these guys anybody wasn't on, I just like to say that it was a very inspiring game for the Giants and a game that they earned it. They earned that win last night. Um, you know, just watching a young kid like DeVito, undrafted, making a beautiful pass to Robinson. I mean that is a NFL elite quarterback pass what he made. I don't know, guys realize that his throw was dead on, in stride, and he's like I said, he's getting better every week, and that's something that you like to see with a young guy.
Yeah, big play to Wandell. That was the end of the fourth quarter. I think you're talking about, and then also
Yes.
the laser to Hodgins in the corner,
Oh,
and
I was a yeah. No, 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 no. I mean, Hodges made a great catch too. That's not.
yeah,
Uh, wait. Jay, yeah. Jay says I don't think he could be the young QB3 next year. He might be QB2. I think he could be.
yeah,
I
we're gonna
think.
get into that, Jay. I
Yeah,
mean,
we'll
this
get
is
into
getting
that. I
yeah,
think he
this is
could
getting
be.
more and more interesting. That's right. Yeah, Jay, thanks for
Absolutely.
jumping on board. Thanks for jumping on board, Jay. We appreciate that. And yeah, well, let's bring it up there right now. But yeah, does True think the young Paisano can be QB next year? So hold that thought,
Yes.
Mike. We'll get to it. Remember that question?
Okay.
I wanted to
I'll
just
hold that
pop that
thought.
up. Uh, Darius, we'll get to a couple of these real quick before we begin. Darius says, I knew the Giants would beat the Packers. Well, I'm glad you did. Well, we'll have to get
Yeah,
your
we
thoughts
did.
on the Saints. I knew it. Green Bay has now lost in back-to-back years to Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito. Yes, and last year was that was the international game too, I believe. So
Yes, in
very
London.
good.
Yep.
Yep, and they were 16-0 in December, so that's a hell of
That's a
Matt
good point.
Lafleur.
You know what? You were right. They were undefeated in December.
Right,
Good
so
point,
big
Chris.
win. Yeah. All right, let's get rolling here. So we're going to kick it off with the injury report. Let's just get this out of the way. Today on the injury report, limited. You had Cordell Flott with the shoulder, Dexter Lawrence with the hamstring, Evan Neal, which is good news. He was back today, limited
Okay,
with the
good.
ankle. So yeah, I'm not sure we're going to see him. We'll see tomorrow. with the Thursday report, but he's trending in the right direction to get back on the field. Aziz, who had a hell of a game, was limited today with the shoulder.
Yes.
Hamstring for Sean Robinson. And Paris Campbell was he was a full participant. So injury-wise, other than stuff from a month ago or so, like Waller, we're still waiting on. But it looks like guys are getting healthy. So which is a good thing, as we go through the stretch drive. Which who would have thought this was going to be happening at this point?
No. And we'll talk about that where the Giants stand in the standings and in a couple of situations if things go right for the Giants. What could happen after next week?
Yep, definitely.
Want to get into it? We'll do defense first.
Yeah, let's do defense. Hey, Cole, thanks for jumping in. I know last night you were chiming in. Unfortunately, the show got
Cole
cut
had
off.
some
I
good
love your
stuff. Cole had some good stuff.
He always does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the sarcasm towards Craig. I love the sarcasm towards Craig. So
yeah,
that's always makes.
We all like to mess with Craig. We all do.
Yep. Real Cold says, of course, Ojulari's hurt again. I think he's just, still nursing, a shoulder. I don't know if that was something from last week, but I didn't hear about that after the game. But I think he'll be all right. All right, so let's get to it, Mike. You want to take the defense and start us off?
So we'll jump in.
Okay.
Right, jump right in team defense and rushing yards allowed. The Giants and the Saints are pretty close. They're both ranked near the bottom. Giants 29th ranked and the Saints are 26th, and they give up around 130 yards per game, each of them. So again, could see a high dosage of Saquon Barkley in this game, and we shouldn't. Let's not discount Tommy Colcuts or Tommy
Tommy Colcuts.
Tommy
that's a new
Cutlets.
one. Yeah, I didn't hear that one. Yeah.
He did really well, right? He ran for 71 yards against the Packers. Mm-hmm. So, he's mobile when he needs to be. In the passing yards allowed, the Giants are getting better little by little every week. Right now they're ranked 18th. But this is where the Saints are really, really good. They're ranked 7th. So it may be a little difficult for Tommy DeVito to make some, clear, clean, crisp passes to wide open receivers that may be a little more tightly covered. Third down conversion, it's pretty close. Where in terms of Giants defense is now 31. They're doing 31 percentage, and the Saints are at 38 right now. But they're ranked 19th, which is pretty good. It's in the middle. The big key here is the red zone. Giants are giving up. They're at 60%. They're 24th, and the Saints are at 53, ranked 14th. And that is that's one of my keys in the game, that red zone. The Giants actually did pretty good against the Packers in the red zone. I think, right, Chris, they had 2 touchdowns in the red zone, at least. So they did very well. Takeaways, these two teams are evenly matched. They both have 22 for the year, and they're at +6 Giants and +5 Saints, ranked 7th, 9th, respectively. And we talked about this last week, how the Giants are trending upward in the takeaway, and I think the last 8 or 9 games are they're +14, so they're doing really well.
Yeah, and how about the interceptions, Mike? Right? The
interceptions. Let me see where I have that. They're 4th in the NFL in interceptions. So that's something that last year we didn't have that, right? The Giants were lacking in interceptions last year.
Yeah, so, and if we think about the beginning of the season, that was one of the problems with the Giants. We went through 4 games without a turnover, and now they're coming in bunches. They
were
making up.
-8 at one point, -8.
Yeah.
So they've really turned it around, and that's I think that's the main reason why they're winning these games. Now with they have Demario Davis is their leading tackler, 91, the linebacker, and their leading sack guy is Carl Granderson. He has 6.5. So it looks like they kind of have everybody contribute there. It's kind of like the Giants. Their leading guy is Adabo, Paulson Adabo, with 4 interceptions. And I remember out of Stafford. I remember that kid coming out of Stanford. So He's pretty good, pretty aggressive. So we're going to see a couple of young, good cornerbacks in this game, and we'll talk about the matchup. We will talk about off air that I can't wait to see in this game. The matchup.
Yeah.
Points
And
allowed.
just to go. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just going off what you said about the completion percentage. I think they're second lowest with completion percentage, the Saints defense. So they do a good job against the pass.
Right. That's right. They are. That's right. And also you made a good point before we were on air about the Saints run defense. They've really been struggling over the last since week 8. They're giving up 158 yards a game. And last week against the Carolina Panthers, 201 yards they gave up. So there's something there, guys, with the running game for the Giants. And you could bet, Dabo is going to look at that and focus on that and use that as one of his keys. And what do I have now? What's the last couple of ones? Points allowed, and we have.
And Mike, while you go off of that with the rushing,
say that.
No, while you're looking for that, Mike, let me just read these off to everybody. This is the Saints' last 8 games. The last 8, including the last week against the Panthers. 164. This is rushing defense, everybody. 164, 156, 125, 228, 142, and they gave up 201 yards against the Panthers. And even another startling stat is that they're 30th ranked against quarterbacks that rush the ball. They give up 5.6 yards a carry to opposing quarterbacks. So looking at what Mike is talking about here, I think we're going to see almost a similar game like we saw against the Packers with the Giants really hammering the run. But we'll get to that later. But go ahead, Mike. I just want to throw that in there.
No, excellent point, Chris. And we're going to see a large doses of the running game. And like I said, I think they might employ a little bit of a design running plays for DeVito. I think you might see that in this game with him. And then I have the total yards allowed. Giants are giving up 361 yards, ranked 26, and Saints are a little bit better, 321, ranked 13th. So we should see opportunities for both offenses in this game. Both teams moving the ball a little bit, and hopefully the Giants do a better job, and they have a chance to win this game. They really do.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff there, Mike. Hey, Tudo. Hey, Mark Thompson. Yeah, Tudo. We're gonna bring you guys on in a few weeks. I know Mike and I would like to do that maybe every month. So as we're rounding out December, maybe right after the Christmas holiday or around New Year's.
What's Jay trying to say there, though? What's Jay trying to say?
Jay?
What's he trying to say down the bottom?
Oh, I think Mark Thompson should get his own show. That's fine. Hey, Mark, talk to Greg. We could. We'll keep this rush thing going all week. Mark, run another show. I think Mike and I are tapped out after 2 nights. We're going back and forth. We could, Mark, join. Anybody want join up? Your deal. Run it.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of you guys on the show.
Yeah, we really enjoy that because Giant fans, always come with so much knowledge, and Mark Thompson and all you guys and gals. So, yeah, we're going to do that. We love having everybody on and going back and forth. But, thanks again, Tudo and Mark Thompson, for jumping on. Anything else, Mike, on the defense before we move over to offense?
No, I think I got it. Covered it.
You're good? Okay. All right, so let's head over to the offense, and let's break down David Carr a little bit. David Carr passing right now for about 2,800 yards, almost 2,900, 2,880. His completion percentage under 70% at 66%. 13 touchdowns. So not a bad year. He's playing okay. He had a good game last week. A stat on the turnovers with offense with the Saints. Saints are 1-5 when they turn over the ball 2 or more times. So keep that in mind on Sunday if this trend continues.
Yes.
With the Giants getting turnovers. Alvin Kamara, rushing yards for Alvin Kamara. He's up to 564 for the year, averaging about 56 yards a game, 3.9 on the ground per game. 5 touchdowns. Chris Olave is their number 1 receiver. 72 receptions, 918 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had a touchdown last week. Excuse me. So, points per game. Giants, they're trending up a little bit. 14. They're still at 31.
Oh, they're going up.
Hey, from what we were, we were, around 10, weren't we, a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Or 11. Saints, they're middle of the pack, 22. So at 15th in the NFL. Total yards per game. Now this gets to be a little larger between both teams amount. Giants at 267, still at 31st in the league. The Saints at 337 at 15, so middle of the pack, but yet a big gap there compared to the Giants. Now this is where it gets interesting, the rushing yards. Both teams run the ball fairly well, middle of the pack. Giants at 115 for the per game for the year, at 14th in the NFL. Saints at 105 per game at 15th in the NFL. Rushing yards per attempt, similar. Giants at 4.1, Saints at 3.7. Little disparity here, passing yards per game. Giants at 152. That's 32nd in the league. Saints at 233, and that puts them right at 14. Third down conversions, Giants at 31%. That's 31st in the league. Saints at 38%. That puts them at 19th in the league. Sacks allowed. Big difference here. Giants at 69. They didn't give up any sacks last week. They're still
That's
at 32. Right. And you're seeing with Tommy DeVito, he's stepping up in the pocket a little bit more, letting that rush, trusting the guys in front of him a little more, and getting around him and getting in that pocket. So I think that's helped. The Saints at 20.
Thing, Chris, we talked about that last week. His pocket presence, so much better. Like you just said, there's a couple of times that this was a few weeks ago, yesterday's game, or day before, he would have been sacked. He got out of there and he ran, and he looked downfield. He had a couple of plays he was running, and he threw the ball on the run, and that makes him a very lethal and dangerous quarterback when he could do that, either run or pass on the run like that.
With his eyes looking downfield, which you see, which is great. All right, so to continue, Saints have given up 28 sacks. Not bad at all. Pretty good offensive line with Andreas Pete and Ramses Rychek at tackle. That puts him at 10th in the league. Red zone TDs, Giants are 44%. Saints are at 50. Turnovers, similar. Giants have turned the ball over 16 times, and the Saints have turned the ball over 17 times. Something to keep in mind, their kicker, Blake Group, he's, usually kickers nowadays, you see him at 80% or so, or more. He's 24-31 on field goals, missed a 29-yarder last week, and he's at 74%. Also, with McGahee, keep an eye on the special teams. The Saints blocked a punt for a touchdown last week, so we're hoping McGahee looks at that film. We don't have to watch the Saints do that 2 weeks in a row, and they shore that up because they did have a nice block for a touchdown. And I think that's about it with any of the stats going into the game. So we'll keep this moving along. Anything you want to add, Mike, on the offensive side of the ball?
Well, for the Giants, I just think, like I said before, I think of course, I think every Giant fan knows this. Barkley needs to play a key role in this game. He sets the tone. If he runs well, the Giants are moving the ball on the ground well, it opens up other avenues for the Giants. DeVito, he'll have better looks, I'm sure, to Wan'Dale Robinson, who had a phenomenal game, I thought, on Monday night. And I'm expecting the same this coming week with him. So I think for the Giants, the running game is essential for everything else to open up.
Yeah, no, I think we're both in agreement on that. And Joel makes a good point. Have to hit Carr. He's battled concussion, banged up shoulder, ribs. Yeah, he's gotten beat up. He always does. So maybe maybe Jameson Winston could see action in this game.
Don't forget Tyson Hill will probably see a couple of snaps too.
Yeah, and Hill was out last week, so I'm not sure what he looks like right now on the injury report, but he was out. So if he plays, that puts another mystery into that offense with him, either in some sort of wildcat or in the backfield.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm sure they keep that close to the vest with Hill till the last second of the injury report, whether he's doubtful or not. But good points. All right, Mike. So let's keep this moving along. Giants game plan. We just touched upon it about the running game. So go ahead, Mike. You want to, if you're the Giants offense right now, and we went over these stats, and the defense, the pass defense is pretty damn good for the Saints. What are you looking at offense? I mean, you just said the running game. Is that what you want to lean on?
Yeah. I would definitely get Barkley in the game early and often, and then feed off that and see what the Saints, how the Saints react to Barkley, and see what they do, what they adjust to, and then then you pick it. Then you pick your moments with the passing. Um, I also think the Giants need to be a little bit better with their third down conversions. Hopefully that they'll be able to convert. I'm not saying 50%, but try to get up to the 40s. I think that would help them sustain drives. Better that they have the ball in their hands than the Saints offense. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And again, the red zone I think is going to be vital. The Giants did very well in the red zone last week, and it's probably one of the main reasons why they won the game. They didn't kick field goal; they got touchdowns, and they only won by 2 points. So in this league, you can't walk away with field goals all the time in the red zone. You have to get touchdowns. So I think that's a key for the Giants against this team.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I agree with you rushing, and I also we look at that turnover battle. The one thing that stands out with the Giants moving up, I think, would we say in the turnover, they're ranked in the turnover third in the differential. Would we say they're +6?
Yeah, they're +6 right now.
And I think it puts them. I
Seventh.
thought I read that they're 7th in the league, which man, I mean that's been a big reason why the turnaround. Even you look to that Washington game, Mike. The Giants had a ton of turnovers, and still it was a close game at the end with that last drive. So if it wasn't for these turnovers, because they're still not putting up a lot of points, but the turnovers, in my opinion, have made the biggest difference.
And that's what I have for the defense. I have turnovers as one of my top 3. They got to continue that trend. That's been their bread and butter, and again they have to continue that if they want to have a chance to win.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what I'm looking at as well. And hey, thanks to Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast, for stopping by. Always appreciate some of our listeners that jump on, not every week, but they pop in when they can. So we appreciate that. So going, I'm with you, Mike, on the running game. And I almost feel like it's going to be a little bit like we just saw with the Packers. They're going to test the waters with the running game and try and stick with it and keep the game close and then pick the spots with DeVito. And open things up when they feel like they need to. But I think it could be a little frustrating in the middle because we're on this DeVito high, throw the ball maybe, but I think they're going to keep it, they're going to stick, I believe they're going to stick to that running game. We might be a little frustrated, like throw the ball, but I think they're going to really try to the max to just get that running game going since the Saints aren't very good against the run.
Yeah.
And they're 3-3 in the dome, which I found, it's not the same Saints team as we saw.
No,
with Sean Payton. They'll be loud, but it's not the same as Drew Brees and Sean Payton there. They're 3-3, so they are beatable. And it's after last week when I thought the Packers would beat the Giants. I don't think it's I don't think it's such a big surprise they go into New Orleans and win the game.
I feel the same way. I was on the same boat as you were. I really felt that I knew the effort would be there with the Giants. I think it will be there remaining 4 games, but I thought the Packers are going to win. But I agree with you. I think this game it's a toss up, and I'm curious to see what the odds guys in Vegas say and how they view this game. But I really do. The Giants won there the last time they played. They went in there and they beat the Saints. So I think the Giants are on a roll and they're feeling good about themselves, and I think they can really make noise against the Saints. And we're going to talk about if the Giants do win this game. The way the standings are, it's pretty amazing how close it is in this game. We'll go over that when we move on from this. But
Yep. And Jay makes a good point. This was a game that we were looking at maybe Waller to be back, and he's not going to be back. He's still not practicing, so. He'll be back with that hamstring maybe next week, but I think they were eyeing up New Orleans, just not going to happen this week. So yeah, good call, Jay. He's not going to be.
I see Joe right above that one talking about we need a tight end to step up. Hey, Bellinger over the middle. How about a couple of seam passes to Bellinger? He's got to be the forgotten guy when they're covering our wide receivers. Yep. Robinson's playing well now. You have Hyatt who can take it deep. You got to think that Bellinger would be forgotten in a couple of plays, right?
Yeah, and you saw Bellinger late in the game with a big catch last week.
Yes.
Early on. So I think, the more confidence the offensive line has on that right side with either Phillips or Neal, then maybe Bellinger gets a little more action. Although you saw Bellinger split out quite a bit last week,
I know. I
you know.
saw that.
So
I
at
saw
least
that.
I think they're trying. And maybe this week will be a day where he gets maybe 5 to 7 catches, for 40 or something yards. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
That'd be
And then Mark
nice.
Thompson's point, you're right, Mark. Bellinger is underrated and is an integral part of the team's operation. I think he's going to go below the radar a little bit, and maybe now's the time where they focus on him more. So maybe we'll see that. I hope so, because we saw so much from him last year. He just kind of is a little bit of a
Yeah, he had
forgotten.
6 touchdowns last year, didn't he?
Yeah,
For us.
yeah, as a
I
rookie.
mean,
Yep, I think
that's a
right around
very good
6.
year for a rookie tight end in the
Yeah,
Giants' offensive system. That's a very good year.
yeah, especially in the red zone. I mean, he was huge in the
Yeah.
red zone, as we know. Yep. So, Mike, going over the defense game plan, what do you want to see on the defensive side?
Well, you touched on it. It's
Yeah,
turnovers. The Giants
right.
have to continue that trend, turning over. At least two. Because I like your stat there that Saints are 1-5 with 2 turnovers or more. So let's start with 2. The Giants need to get at least 2 turnovers. I also want to see the Giants. Someone brought up about if Carr plays, they got to hit him. So pressure. They got to put pressure on the quarterback, whether it's Carr or if it's Winston. They got to put the pressure, and they did last week. The Giants looked really, really prepared for that game. They looked like they wanted to win that game. That was the best gang tackling I've seen the Giants have this whole year. I mentioned that in the podcast. It looked like hungry dogs feeding on a bone, you know. So I expect to see that again. And if they do, they got a good shot of winning this game.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. And Tudo, yeah, truth. Yeah, Bellinger hasn't been forgotten, mate. He's been busy blocking. Yeah, that was our point last week. He hasn't been. He's been helping out with Tyree Phillips a little bit, and also with Neal. So hopefully the confidence builds, and then get him out a little bit more, and get him some more, catches. But I think turnovers, like we're saying, Mike, that's going to be just a huge factor in this game. I
Yeah,
really do. I think if the Giants can continue that, they will win the game. Um,
they got a good chance. Absolutely. All right, you want to touch on the standings and what we're looking at here?
Yeah, we'll just we got to touch on DeVito. You want to talk about him a little
Oh,
bit, how he's
let's
grown?
talk about DeVito. Talk about DeVito.
Yeah.
You go first. Go ahead.
All right. So, and Mike, jump in. I think we've all seen since that Jet game how DeVito has just really been given more opportunity, more responsibility. We've seen him be comfortable in the pocket, where I think in the first couple games maybe he was a little bit not that he wasn't confident, but he'd look to run, right? He'd look to run out of the pocket a little bit soon. He'd run into some sacks. But I feel like, boy, these last 2 weeks, he's sitting in the pocket. He's picking his spots. He's looking downfield. I think Mark Thompson said it yesterday. He's looking high. He's looking high to low, right? He's not
Right.
looking short. He's looking high and then coming back, for the check down. So I think we're seeing this guy grow. And it is amazing how this has just transpired over a course of a month, from really we didn't expect much to, hey, do we have something? You never know. Maybe this is something, and this is just going to get more and more interesting. But go ahead, Mike. Give me your thoughts on DeVito and how he's growing
Well, it's
the
fun. I
past
did. I
month.
did my last article. I did. Um, I just looked at the recent or the most known free undrafted quarterbacks in the NFL and their success, and I kind of compared DeVito to Romo. They both played in Illinois. They both played one played at East Illinois, and the other one played at Illinois, and they both have Italian last names. I don't know if Romo's Italian, but
Yeah,
Romo got his big chance because of Bledsoe getting hurt, and I think it was
and he
against
was
the Giants.
undrafted. And he was undrafted.
That's right, he was undrafted. I think it was a Monday or Sunday night game against the Giants that Bledsoe got hurt, and Tony Romo got his shot against the Giants. So. I kind of wrote about the similarities, and who knows, boy, if DeVito it could be as good as Tony Romo, I think I take that. I think I would take that. If I'm a
Oh,
Giant fan, right?
no doubt. Yep,
Yeah,
and some notable undrafted quarterbacks: Warren Moon,
yeah.
Tony Romo, Kurt Warner,
Jeff
uh,
Garcia
Jeff Garcia, and
and
a middle of the road guy, Jake Delhomme.
Jake
Jake Delhomme
Delhomme.
had a nice career.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Jake Delhomme. Yeah, nice
I'll
career.
take any of those quarterbacks, obviously the top tier ones, but even Jake Malone had, if DeVito could be as good as him, he had some good years with the Panthers. So,
He sure did.
but again, to echo what you said, DeVito has grown leaps and bounds over the last, I would say, like you said, like 3 to 4 weeks or so. I mean, he's not the same quarterback we saw against the Jets. I mean, not even close. What we saw against the Jets. And if
Yeah.
listen, if DeVito was DeVito that we see now against the Jets, we win that game easily. We win that game easily.
Yeah, and I think one of the problems for that game, Mike, was that you had DeVito with not the practice squad, with the second team all
Right.
week practicing.
Right.
And I think it was just a matter of confidence. And listen, the Giants had 24 seconds to hold on and win, and they didn't. But I'm here, especially in overtime, we talked about it. They should have been at that point just let him throw the ball a little
Yep.
bit. But boy, you can
Yep.
see how he's developing chemistry with the first team, right? With the first team
Yeah,
offense, he's developing chemistry with Wandell. You're seeing it, with Slayton. Not so
Spreading
much
around
yet
a little
with
bit.
Hyde.
Notice that too?
Yeah,
You spreading
love
around.
it.
That's nice to see. That is.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about his pocket presence. It's night and day from what it was when he played against who was that he played against that he gave up like 10 sacks? What team was that?
Wait, say that again, Mike. Who's this?
Who did we play that DeVito was quarterback and he got sacked like 10 times? Who was that? Wasn't that long ago?
Was he? It might have been Dallas. Was it Dallas? It wasn't Washington. I know he gave up a ton against Washington too, though.
It might have been
quite a
Washington.
bit.
They still won the
Might have
game,
been.
but
He still won the game. I think he might have sacked like 9 times.
yeah, but do you
times,
see
yeah.
such a difference with him right now? Him running for 71 yards last week, showing that he can create plays with his legs, not just his arm, is gonna give teams to think a bit about with him. When they prepare for the Giants. Not to say that he's the guy they got to stop, but he just adds that extra element to the Giants' offense. It really does.
Hypothetically, Mike, and everybody that's listening, if the Giants beat the Saints, okay, it's a win. It's an awesome win. It's not like it's not like we're crowning DeVito to be the next, number one quarterback of the Giants. But it goes along and adds another, it's another badge on his jersey, But if they were to win the following week against Philly, at that point, do you really have to think hard? And I'm not saying he throws for, he goes 5 for 15 and throws for 120 yards, but he has a similar game, 160 yards, 100, 200 yards, a Brock Purdy type of game where he's, 70-something% completion, and they beat the Eagles. I mean, at that point, you gotta go in the next training camp possibly thinking that he's got to compete. I mean, it could get to that, Mike. God forbid, if they beat the Eagles, I mean, this really, really gets interesting. One of those games, even.
It would be an amazing victory, not just for DeVito, for the Giants. I mean, let's face it, guys. The Eagles have our number. They really do. And someone could tell us, top of my head, I think the Giants have lost like 10 or some. I don't know. They haven't even won in Philly for like 10 plus years, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe they have one win in the last 8-9 games against them. So
right.
That would be an amazing win for them.
Yeah. But I know Jay's jumping. Yeah. Oh, no, go ahead, Mike. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
That's okay. I would just say that, Giants win that game. You got to take it, just stay in the moment. They still have to have 2 more games and take it from there. But I understand. At least I think he solidifies the backup role. If if he continues and does well the rest of the season,
Yeah.
I think he solidifies in the Giants' mind that, well, at least we got a backup if we have an issue. Whether it's Jones next year, they draft a quarterback. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. So I think that they know that. They know
Yeah.
that.
And I had to push this up what Jay said. Carb Crush calling for the Paisano. I'm really not. I'm just thinking outside the box a little bit that if this continues, you have to start. You take him more seriously. I think Jones is more talented. He's the number one, and I don't think he's in danger of losing a job to Tommy DeVito at all. I don't think that. However, it's the whole Eagle Giant thing, and I'm really thinking media. The media frenzy,
they'll eat
like
that up.
everybody out there. The media frenzy would be insane, and that's when you really lock DeVito up to be your number two. That's what I think. I think, Jones is going to be the number one when he's healthy, but DeVito will absolutely, in my opinion, lock up that number two spot if they were to beat the Eagles at some point in this season. I do. I just think he's at that point, whether it's the last game of the season or on Christmas Day, I think you can pretty much say, he's proven that he's a guy you want to keep around. And especially the Eagles, they need these games, right? They need those games. So it's not like they're going to roll out, third stringers. They're going to, third team offense, defensive players. They're going to need those games. So it's going to be interesting. I can see DeVito as the backup long term. He's like a 3-year deal. So, but the other part with DeVito, Mike, is that he's untapped, right? You don't know what his ceiling is. Let me ask you this, Mike, going back to his draft, and I know he was undrafted. Do you remember ever looking at his draft profile, or did you ever come across him at any point in the quarterback selections?
When I was doing like the process I go through with the draft with quarterbacks, I go through. I have a few websites that I kind of like really hold a lot of faith with, and I kind of like them. I think they're pretty good, and I vaguely saw him. Didn't click, nothing. So he was definitely a big surprise. So clearly a big surprise, but he wasn't a bad quarterback. I mean, I looked at his numbers afterwards, and he had a pretty good career, a season in Illinois. He wasn't that bad. He really wasn't. There's a thing here. If you go down a little bit from Jay, talking about teams looking at the film on DeVito. I want to see if you can find that. Throw that on.
I could find it. Was it at the bottom or?
Yeah, it was like 5 down from the one that Jay had before.
And okay. And it was Jay made the comment.
He says, "Yeah, it's right because you guys realize that once teams get a film on DeVito, it won't be pretty."
That's a good point.
Jay, I understand what you're saying, but they got film on him already. He's been quarterback for the Giants for over a month now. So, they're looking at film on him, and he may have a game where he'll struggle and have a bad game. Yeah, it happens to every quarterback.
Right.
It happens to every quarterback. So I don't think we're delusional to thinking that, that he's going to lead the Giants and have a good game every week. He could have a bad game this week. I don't know. But
and the truth of it won't. Yeah, no, and the truth of the matter is, if they keep winning games, they're going to be down on the draft board anyway. So chances are you're not going to get the guy you really wanted, in the top 5. You're going to fall maybe to 9 or 10, or in that
right.
range.
And you can't worry about that too, Chris. I guarantee you, anyone Giants organization is not thinking about, if the Giants win this week, now we're going to be in the 10th in the draft. Nobody's thinking about that, guys. Only some guys on Twitter who are Madden. Someone talked about Madden quarterbacks or GMs.
Yeah, right.
They don't care about that. Worry about the draft when the draft comes. When that happens, if the Giants fall out of top 10, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but, and I think we want to see what the potential is for DeVito. That's not a guy you want to see leave the Giants and go somewhere else, and he has this ceiling that we really didn't know how high it
becomes a Romo.
Yeah, because we don't know what his ceiling is, and that's the chancy part right now, is that if he plays this well and keeps progressing, boy, the ceiling just gets higher and higher, and you don't know where it is. So keep him around. by all accounts, Jones may not be ready till August, so he's going to get the whole off season with the OTAs, with mini camp, and he's going to be the one. He might be the one in training camp, even if they did take a quarterback. He knows the system. They're going to let a guy that they choose sit behind in training camp a little bit to learn and just soak it all up, so he's not thrown right in there. So DeVito's going to get a lot of time, as the number one, even going into training camp, which is just going to help him, grow and reach his ceiling.
Yeah, and if the Giants do draft the quarterback, guys, and again, we don't know. I like Joel comment down here. He touched on that from the bottom, Chris.
About the quarterbacks?
Yeah, if DeVito closes the season strong, you found that one? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, if he closes the season strong, he thinks that the Giants could take the thought of draft a quarterback off the board. It could happen. We don't know, guys. We don't know. But if they do draft a quarterback, I agree with Chris that no need to rush the guy, even though he's so talented. Let him develop. Don't rush these guys and damage them. Like, I feel bad for CJ Young. I mean, for Young, I feel bad for him because he's getting pounded back there with nothing in front of him helping him, the offensive line. So I agree. I think if they see DeVito as their number two guy, and if they move another direction, the draft in the first round anyway, maybe they get a quarterback in the second round. You don't know who's going to fall. We don't know.
Yeah. I know we want to, look towards 2024 after this season, but I think 2025 is going to be so interesting, Mike. And the reason is you got the out with Jones. You got $47 million next year on the books, the cap hit. You're going to keep him around. He's going to play it out. Now see how he plays. And boy, if they did draft the quarterback in the draft this year, you're really going to have, you're going to have some interesting situations with DeVito hanging around, a new quarterback, and Jones. I mean, it's a good problem.
It's a good problem. That's exactly right. It's a good problem. And listen, if the scenario is they decide to move on from Jones after next year, and they do draft the quarterback, whoever that may be, and they like his progressions, and they like DeVito continues to do well into next year and does well, it's okay. It's okay with me. I mean, I'll be fine with that. Mm-hmm. I would be.
Mike, last thing on DeVito, and I haven't heard this quarterback's name being thrown out there. Not that I think he's like him, but he carries the swag like this quarterback.
Oh, I know who you're gonna say.
I don't know. Really?
I know who you're gonna say. Go ahead.
You tell me. I'll tell you if you're right. Go ahead.
It's the guy who's where's he playing right now? You mentioned him a couple of times already.
Did I?
Minshew, right? Is that his name?
Gardner Minshew. No, I wasn't. If he has a career like him, yeah, that's great. No, I wasn't thinking Minshew. But there was a little bit of hype surrounding this quarterback in Washington, Taylor Heineke.
Oh, yes.
Now listen, you got the whole Italian thing with DeVito, but it kind of reminds me of the Heineke hype that was going on when he stepped in with the fieriness. He was leading the team down the field. Remember he played against the Cowboys and he was diving into the end zone, taking hits. Fine. Didn't kill you with a lot of big numbers, but he was smart. He processed well. He didn't turn the ball over a hell of a lot. DeVito kind of reminds me like a Heineke. And you know what? Heineke's going to have a job for the next few years as a backup. And I kind of see DeVito maybe right now as like kind of that Heineke type of quarterback. He comes in fiery, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, doesn't turn the ball over. He does the job. Not big numbers yet, but he's more than serviceable. And that's what I thought Heineke. Heineke just reached his ceiling. Like I think they all thought that was what you were going to get from him, and they needed to go, a little higher.
That's a good comparison, Chris. I think that makes sense. I mean, I could see that Heineke with that. I could see that comparison.
Maybe, hopefully he's better than Heineke. But yeah. But yeah, Jay even said Heineke was a fun player. He was. Even if you weren't a Washington fan, it was fun watching the fire. A guy that came from like I don't know if it was James Madison or I forgot where he came from, but he was like an accountant or something and was out of the league and gave up trying out. He played in like the XFL and stuff, and he had a history with Rivera going back to the Panthers as a third string quarterback, and Rivera brought him in just because of the history. So I don't know. That could be a type of a DeVito Heineke comparison maybe. But anyway, anything else on DeVito, Mike, that you want to add before we We move forward.
No, I just want to see him keep progressing week by week. That's that. When I watch the game, of course, I want the Giants to win, but I want to see him progress a little bit each week, and he has. So
Right.
he's doing well.
I think Jay said it before. We're in the twilight zone. You know what, Jay? We will be in the twilight zone if the Giants beat the Saints on Sunday and they beat the Eagles on Christmas Day. Then we are officially in the effing twilight zone. We will absolutely be in the twilight zone if the Giants somehow won in Philly on Christmas Day. And I'm
So
glad Philly's. Yeah. Good.
no. Finish what you're gonna say, and I'll
No,
lead
and I'm
into.
glad Philly's going to Seattle, which they'll probably win, which will be good for the Giants to let Seattle lose, and then they'll take a nice long trip back, get home Tuesday, holiday week. They're busy with their wives and girlfriends, buying gifts, and maybe we catch them and they'll have a hangover, and maybe that first quarter in Philly we could actually get something started. But anyway, we got a week for that. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Well, that leads us into scenarios here. Looking at the NFC standings, you have two teams with a 5-8 record. This is the Giants and the Bears. Okay, they're both 5-8. I haven't looked at who the Bears are going to be playing. I think they still play the Vikings this year, and they still have the Packers, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know who else they play. So there's some winnable games there for them in the final 4 games for them. Then you got teams at 6 and 7. There are 6 teams at 6 and 7. You have the Rams, Seahawks, Packers, Bucks, Falcons, and Saints. You got 3 teams who are tied for first. Well, strike the schedule, but you have the Bucks, the Falcons, and Saints all 6 and 7.
Great.
All right. Giants played the Saints this week. If the Giants beat the Saints, okay, that knocks them and gives them an advantage. If the Giants beat the Rams, that gives them an advantage if they all tie because the Giants beat them head to head, right, along with the Packers.
Yep.
It's going to come down, and it could come down to those 2 games against the Philadelphia Eagles.
What else is new?
And I know when these schedule guys did the schedule, they probably thought the Giants would be closer to the division, battling out, and possibly winning the division against the Eagles. Who'd have thought, even though the Giants are going to be maybe 6 and 8 against the Eagles, it could make an impact on both teams in the playoffs. It could kick the Eagles out of the first seed and move the Giants up as a 7th seed or 6th seed, whatever it ends up being. So that's going to be very interesting. So, destiny's in Giants' hands, right?
It sure
It's
seems
for the
that
Giants
way.
to win.
Yeah. What
If
a turn of events.
They win 3 out of 4 games. They win 3 out of 4 games. I think it's safe to say they make the playoffs. Don't you think?
8 and 9. I think the way this wild card is setting up, and that means you would have beaten the Rams, like you said. You would have beaten the Saints, which are in the mix. You already beat the Packers. So I think 8 and 9, and Seattle, even though they lost, I think they're in a little bit of a tailspin. I think 8 and 9 will get them in. But you got to win. You got to win these next. You got to win Rams and Saints regardless, without a doubt. And you got to steal one against the Eagles. You got to steal one somehow.
And I know it's a long shot, guys. I know it's a long shot. My heart says yes, they can do it. But my head tells me, reality. They have to play the perfect football game and hope that the Eagles make so many mistakes, like what Washington did. Turn the ball over like 5-6 times. It's wishful thinking on our part. I know it is, but I guess that's what keeps you going to the end of the season when you see this.
Yeah,
and there's an opportunity.
Yeah, you're right, Mike. Yep.
No, yeah. Let's just take care of the Saints first. Let's just see how they do against them first.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. One game at a time, but at least there's meaningful games in December. It is meaningful. They're not out of it, and they're a game back. As crazy as that is, they're in it, and it keeps us. We're sick Giants fans. We'd be watching anyway. But it just makes it even better when you got something to play for, which they do on Sunday. Make a statement, go into New Orleans, beat the Saints, and then we could dream about a Christmas miracle, right? Miracle,
Yep.
whatever street that stadium is on at the Link. The Miracle at the Link. I could just see it now on social media. The Miracle at the Link, or whatever street that is, and that would be something. But you got to beat the Saints first, because if they lose to the Saints, Mike, it just loses a lot of luster for the playoffs.
Oh,
That's pretty much it.
it's like a punch in the gut. It's a
Yeah,
punch in the gut.
right. The
It is.
Giants aren't going to sweep the Eagles. You're not going to sweep the
Yeah.
Eagles.
I mean, old Giant fans would have loved it. The Giants are 8-5 come into this game, not 5-8. Yes, of course. And they could
Oh,
have been. They could have been
yeah.
pretty. They could have had at least two
Yeah.
more wins.
The woulda, coulda, shoulda. That Buffalo and Jet game. One of those games were there, and we let it slip, or the Giants let it slip.
They
between
both were
their
there,
fingers.
really. They
Yeah.
both were there.
One of those, man. We are right now tied, and you give you a little bit of room to, if you lost twice against the Eagles, but we don't have that. The Giants don't have that room. You gotta win these next 3 out of 4.
Yeah, I know it's a tall
Right,
order,
3 out of
but
4.
it's again, it's what keeps our hopes alive.
Yeah, keeps it fun. And Mike, let me ask you this before we get rolling. When the season's over after week 17, when are you and Spartan kicking off the draft, the draft position groups and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, I have to get with Spartan on that, but I like to kind of do it about let's see, the draft is the last week of April. Usually it's the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and so I like to do 3, 4, at least give like 15 weeks prior to the draft, so we can cover each position. And again, we're going to get a lot of the fans on there when we do it. We're going to have fans on, certain fans when we cover certain positions. So I'm pulling for somewhere in January, probably mid-January, but I'll get with Spartan on that. For me, that's the best time of the year. And I still have a long way to go with my scouting. I'm working on that, so it's gonna be fun, like it always is.
Yeah, for sure. And then you got the Senior Bowl coming up after the bowl games, which is
Yeah.
interesting this year because they're allowing juniors to play, underclassmen. So keep
Yeah,
an eye on that, everybody.
I
The
saw
Senior
that.
Bowl.
I saw that, and that's gonna be interesting, like you said.
It's going to be like
That's
a real
gonna be
all-star
interesting.
game at that. It's going to be like a real all-star game at that
Yeah.
point. Letting those
Yeah.
underclassmen play.
And we got, I think January 15th is when they can declare their final day that they can declare juniors if they're going to be eligible for the draft. Some have already declared. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Some have. This is where the fun time starts for me. When we get this stuff going with the draft and leading into the draft night. So that's a fun time for me.
Yeah, and what an interesting situation if the Giants do pick around 10, right? If they fall out of that top 5, top 7, boy, they can go so many directions.
Yeah.
Whether it's
They
a
can trade
quarterback
back,
that falls-
guys. They can trade back. I don't know if they would trade up though. I don't know if Shane would give up that much to trade up, because if you see in years past how much teams had to give up to move up, I don't know if Shane wants to do that.
Well, his job would be on the line if he does that, because you're going all in.
That's
You're
right.
getting 2 years, maybe 3, and if it doesn't work out, you're gone. I mean, it's a lot of capital to give up to move where the Giants will probably be, but that means he has conviction in a particular quarterback, and he's going all the chips in the middle of the table, and he's rolling it.
He's all in.
So we're going to know. I mean, that's going to be interesting. And obviously, if the Giants do fall into that 7 to 10 range, then we know DeVito did pretty well. The Giants won a few more games.
That's
and
right.
then it gives us a little bit more confidence to say, hey, we roll with Jones and we let DeVito sit behind him. And then Jones doesn't do well next year. Obviously, if he doesn't do well, it's probably a losing record again. And then you look at the quarterback then. But I heard, Mike, the 25 class isn't going to be that good with quarterbacks. I know it's a year ahead, right? I've heard that it's not as strong.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. I haven't really dived into that with them to see how they are. Like I said, though, the Giant, there could be someone can fall out of it happens every year. It happens every year. A prospect who we thought was going to go in the first round, goes back, and he could go in the second round. Who that quarterback could be, there's a couple of them. Now, I don't think Shane would reach for a quarterback just to get a quarterback. I think it has to be one of the quarterbacks that they love. They love. Now, let's assume what happened last year. We had Jalen Carter went all the way to ninth, right? Was
I
drafted
was going to
ninth.
mention him. Yeah, right. Fell.
And nobody had that on their mock drafts. Nobody.
They were all spooked.
Right. So if one of these quarterbacks, for some reason, because you're going to have a lot of talented wide receivers, a lot of talented offensive tackles coming aboard, get off the board early, based on everything I'm reading. What if one of them is still there at 7 or 8, and the Giants are picking at 9 or 10? Like last year, right? Shane moved up one spot to get Banks, right? One spot you can live with. One spot, it's worth to move up, and it's not that bad. Then I can see him doing that. I mean, I know who I like. If he's there and the Giants on the board, I know who I want.
Say it, or you want to wait on that?
Well, I've told you already who I like. I don't know if I said it on air. We can wait on that.
Okay.
But with all these quarterbacks, though, I will say this. Because of the way the college football, they play a lot of shotgun, almost exclusively. And you don't see quarterbacks under the center a lot in college.
Right.
And in the pros, it's a little bit more shotgun than years past, but you still see them under center sometimes. And that worries me. I think that's the hardest adjustment for a college quarterback, to go under center in the NFL and to get used to that and to perform. But it's not like it used to be. I understand that. They do more shotgun. But this is going to be an interesting draft. It really will be for the Giants. It's pins and needles, I would say, for all Giants fans. We all know that. A lot of guys want the quarterback. A lot of guys maybe don't want a quarterback. But it's going to be interesting to see what Shane does.
Yeah, and we'll be there soon enough. So.
And we'll have you on, Chris. We'll let
I did.
We'll let you pick what position you want to cover.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Last year I did the offensive line, learned a lot about the centers. I think I did the centers, and Schmitz was, one of the guys that I covered. So yeah, we're happy we got him.
We'll give you offense this year. Other than
I don't care.
We'll give you. I don't care. I don't care.
I don't care. I just honestly doesn't matter. I got to do the research on it because I'm not up on it like a lot of you are. But I will do the tape and the research and prepare enough. That way I don't sound like I'm just spinning stuff out there. But yeah,
I will say this, man. I will say this. I'm looking right now. I'm doing the wide receivers, and I'm looking at. There are some good guys that I'm seeing that could and should be available in round 2. Some pretty good wide receivers I'm seeing.
And funny you mention that, Mike. The Seattle Seahawks, the more they keep losing, the more that second round pick gets lower and lower. So
what is it now? 46 now?
You're close. I think they're at 47. So I know we got to help, root for the Eagles, but we need them to lose.
That's okay, guys, to root for the Seahawks to lose.
Yeah, that's
okay.
right.
Not
for 2 reasons: knocks them down on the wild card, and we get their second round pick, which could result in a receiver or maybe that guard. I have a feeling Giants are definitely going to find a stud guard in the draft somewhere this year.
Oh, yeah. I actually did that a few weeks back. I looked at the guards, and not to get into detail, but they had some pretty good ones.
Some depth out there.
Yeah,
there's some depth in
pretty good size, mobile. That's the key.
Yep,
they can move.
Yep. Last thing, Darius makes a great point. Dable and Shane have a type in terms of quarterbacks, guys who can scramble, athletic, can sling the ball. Yeah, we know from what we saw in Buffalo.
Well, think about that, guys. And think about the quarterbacks that could be available if the Giants are picking. And would Shane go? Would he make that move? Would he go get him?
Yeah. Well, his job and Dable's job will be resting on it
for
a couple of years.
And
yeah, I guess you get a reboot. I mean, you're going to get 2-3 years. They still, they didn't. That wasn't Jones was their draft, so they're getting time with that for this year. I don't, Dable's not going anywhere. So, but they would get a reboot again. I mean, for really their first time getting a reboot with their own quarterback that they draft, put their stamp on it. But
Mhm.
Mike, I know we're running up on 9 o'clock. Give me your prediction for Sunday and what we might be looking at.
Well, it's funny. Early in the show, Tudo already put a prediction up,
Let me see if I can
way,
go
way up
back.
in the top. I think he had 24-13 Giants.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Tudo probably left. He's ready for practice. He's at rugby.
Yeah, remember,
He's
it's,
either at
it's like
rugby
2 in the
practice or
morning.
he's either drinking. He's either at the he's at rugby practice or he's doing shots of Zambuca right
He's,
now
he's
with the
working out.
boys.
He's doing
Yeah, he's
deadlifts
working
right
out.
now.
Yeah, the Zambuca's right next to the deadlifts. It's on a little. It's like those little foldable tables you have by the. You bring little snack tables. He's got
Yeah,
Zambuca there and a Zet, little shot glasses, and that's what they're doing in Italy in between sets. All right, here we
yeah.
go. I
Well,
Let's see if I can find that. What did
it's
Tudo
it was
say?
somewhere up on top somewhere. Let me see.
Okay, see if you find it. We'll put it. We gotta. So if he's right, we got to give him credit. I'm sure a lot of people read it, but
Well,
let's see if
while
we
we're
can
doing
find it
this,
real quick.
guys, you guys on listening, give us what you think.
Yeah,
Predictions.
we got
I
a
think the
second.
Giants have a better chance to win this week, and I'm gonna be more optimistic, and I'm gonna say they're gonna pull off a road victory, and I think it's gonna be kind of like what we saw against the Packers, like you pointed out. I don't know if it'll be a 2 point win, but it could be close, like a field goal can win it. So I'm gonna say, oh gosh, I'm gonna
Hmm,
say 21-17 Giants. I'm gonna
let
go
me
for
see.
that one.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna say
Oh, here it is.
20.
I found
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I
How
don't
far
know
down?
where. It's about a third down. It's right
Okay.
between Jay Farrell's two comments. One where he says, "I think Mark should have his own show." Is right below that one.
Oh, okay. And that's
Yeah, he
Tudo,
has
right?
24-13, which is very, very doable. It can happen. It can also happen
24-13.
the
That's
other
a heck of
way.
a win. That's a heck of a win, man.
While you're looking,
24-13.
give me your prediction, Chris.
Yeah, I say 24. I'm going to go 24-20 Giants.
Okay.
24-20 Giants. And the Saints have the ball for the last possession coming down the field. They need a touchdown, and the Giants hold on. So,
And Banks intercepts the ball in the end zone. How about that one?
yeah, hell of a play. I know you guys talked about it last night. One of
Yeah,
the
that was a great
nicest,
play, wasn't it?
one of the prettiest defensive plays, right? That you'll see that's like textbook, right? He had the one hand, he bats it away with the backhand in the end zone there. Oh man, heck of a play by
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Banks.
he's legit. He's legit.
He really is.
And that's a matchup, right? Him against Chris Olva. Is
I
that his
would think
name?
he's going to be with Olave. Yeah, yeah, I
Olave.
would think so. Yeah, unless well, Dory, he's back. He's been back. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I don't know if they move if they're going to move Olave around, but if he's on that side, obviously Banks. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see what they do. I can't find it. I'm sorry. What was the score? You want to just what did
Yeah,
Tudor say?
it was
20
24-13 Giants.
going through all these 24-13 Giants. All right, you heard everybody. Tudo 24-13. That's his prediction. So
Anybody
let's
else
see
do
what
it on here?
happens.
Let me scroll down.
Yeah, let's see. Put it up there for. Oh, here we go. We got a few. Let's put them up there. Hey, Juan, thanks for jumping in. I missed you before when you may have jumped on. There's Juan. 20-10 Giants. That's a
Wow,
nice
that's a
win
dominant
in
game.
the dome. Hold them to 10 points. I like
That's a
that.
dominant game right there, Juan. If they win 20-10. Really?
And we got
Oh,
Joel.
28-17, Joel.
That's pretty confident. Pretty
Giants gonna
confident move.
score. Joel thinks the Giants gonna score some points, baby.
Wow, 28, man. That's like the Giants scoring 50. That means it'll be 50
Yeah.
points. Oh man, that's a hell of an offensive
And
effort.
listen, and Joel gets a little more creative. Below that, go to his next one. He's talking about DeVito.
Okay.
Scroll down, you'll see it. About five
Oh,
spots.
okay. DeVito, 190 passing, 2 touchdowns, 60
Ooh.
rushing,
Wow, look at
150. I
save
like it.
this, Chris. Save this.
I like it. I like it. I don't know how to save it. This is Craig's.
And look at the back last one, a defensive touchdown too. We're gonna get.
Wow. All right,
So
Joel.
the
I
Giants
like.
need to
Keep
get
remember
four
that.
touchdowns in this game.
I
Wow.
like that. You know
But
what?
he doesn't have the. Does he have the
That's
Giants?
doable. That's doable.
Wow,
I
that would
think.
be something.
I think Joel's right on because I think they're going to run Barkley in the running game. Man, they're
I
just
do
going to hammer
too.
it.
I think they should. I think
Yep.
they
Open
should
things up. Two
set up the
TDs,
passing
60
game with the
rushing.
running game.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Anybody else before we bid farewell here? 7 picks, not bad for Carr. Yeah, not bad at all. Carr has seven interceptions this year. Not too bad. He's actually been pretty
And
good.
listen, he's a good quarterback. He can get hot and move the chains. He really can.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm not taking him lightly, and by no means.
No.
But I think the Giants are going to show they're going to come playing. If they continue with that mentality, that gang tackling that I saw the last game, they're going to be tough.
Yeah.
And you know what? Darius has a comment here that 3 quarterbacks could be the norm in a couple of years. I think it might be next year. I think it might be next year for the Giants, especially if they draft a quarterback, right?
Yep.
You can't unless DeVito struggles immensely and is horrible. You can't put him on a practice squad because someone's going to pluck him
somebody
away.
will grab him, and as long as you have him on your 53, and that's the catch, you got to have the third one on the 53, but you don't have to make him active. He's automatically active for the game. So there's a little bit of a play there, little movement.
Yeah, if all considered, if he's staying this production, he's got to be on the roster next year. And if you have to have one less tight end, you have one less tight end, one less running back. What's the difference? I mean, Gray don't even play. He had one snap last week.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference? Have him or have a quarterback out there?
Yeah, and you know what? Real quick, I know we got to go, but Truth, you're right. Once they, if they draft the quarterback, they absolutely will have 3 on the roster. They will carry 3.
Yeah,
because you're going to carry Jones. You're not going to let DeVito go, and you're going to have the rookie. So without a doubt, they'll have 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, and remember, Jones probably won't be ready to start the season, so they can get away with that. But when he's ready, they'll have to make a move to add Jones, and it won't be by removing a quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The last thing, yeah, it is, and they're 1 in 5 when they have
1 in 5 with 2 turnovers
or more. So maybe that plays into a fact. Giants are 4th in the league with 13 interceptions, so this all plays into the Giants' hands. Wink's going to do a good job. He's really turned it up with the defense. So, all right. Last thing I want to put everybody's comments. Both teams' defenses will aim to keep their offenses in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Yeah.
And once again, this isn't your Drew Brees, your Sean Payton teams.
Or remember that classic game, Giants against the Saints when Brees against Eli Manning?
Oh, great. It's a shame the Giants lost that game. Oh, shame they lost that game. It was like watching kids playing the Sandlot. It was. Oh, yeah. It was unbelievable.
We won't see that.
No. Last thing, Darius, if the defense gets a pick, especially at a key time, I think the Giants will win. Yeah, I could see that. We'll come down to the turnovers.
Which team makes the big play?
That's it. Mark Thompson, that's what exactly. Went to the turnovers. Giants get 2 takeaways or more, they have a good chance of winning this game. Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks everybody. Anything else, Mike, before we sign off?
No, let's go Giants, guys.
Yeah, let's go Giants. Thanks for everybody stopping by to see hang out with me and Mike. The Truth. Next Monday, don't forget you got Rush Hour. We'll recap the Giants Saints game, and then next Wednesday Rush Hour. Monday you have Craig, Alex, or Spartan, or Mike, or me, whatever. But Wednesday we'll see you for Rush Hour, and then we go right into the Christmas break there. But we'll see everybody, and we'll talk Eagles. Yep. All right. So thanks again, everybody. Appreciate you all hanging out, and enjoy the games, enjoy the rest of the week, and let's go Big Blue. All right.
Let's go.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, guys.